for this talk, I will be explaining the engine behind AWS, Lambda, and Fargate. So the title of my talk for today is Firecrackers Micro VM, the engine behind AWS, Lambda, and Fargate. So before we start, let's have a show of hands. So has anyone here has experience with virtual machines? Can you raise your hand? Anyone? Okay, quite a lot. How about containers? Raise your hand. Okay, there are. How about micro VM? Okay, no. So I hope this will be an interesting topic for you guys since this is going to be a new technology for a lot of you. Right? So next slide, please. Okay. So for the agenda, first we're going to talk about a short recap about virtual machines and containers. Now, why is this? I figured it would be essential for us to fully understand on the power of micro VM if we understand its competitor, right? Because micro VM falls under the same tech umbrella. It uses virtualization and containers. So, test lang natin to. Okay. Oops, nawala. Balik po. Okay. Next, balik. Oh, balik. Okay. And then, short history for micro VM, right? Bakit siya create? And then, we're going to now dive into what is micro VM, the 3W, the what, why, and where can we use micro VM. And then last, if there's enough time, I will show you how we can spin up your first micro VM. Okay. So, a little recap for virtual machines. So, virtual machines, essentially, they're a computer inside another computer, right? Being simulated fully with a kernel, full process, and then the full hardware. So, one of the characteristics of virtual machines is it has a slow startup time, right? And I think it's very natural for a virtual machine because it's fully simulating a whole operating system, right? So when you spin up a virtual machine, you're creating essentially a new computer inside a computer. So you're running a full operating system inside another operating system. And then the next one is it's complete. Now, why is it complete? So it's complete because when you spin up a virtual machine, okay, it's fully simulating the hardware. So you can ensure that any application that you want to test, you can surely run it in a virtual machine. And then next of its characteristic is it's easy to use. So you don't need to be an expert in hardware for you to spin up a virtual machine, right? You can just download VirtualBox and then you can easily start virtual machine. And then for the next one is it has large image. So a typical virtual machine can be 20 gigs in size, and that's not including the provision extra size that you can add. Right? So that's virtual machine. And as you can see, on the left-hand side of the slide, on the diagram, the architecture of it goes like this. So the hardware, and then on the hardware, it's running the operating system, and then on top of it is the hypervisor. So that's the technology that enables us to run operating system inside another operating system. Okay, containers. So for containers, containers is very different from virtual machines, right? So for containers, essentially, it's not meant to virtualize, but in the word itself, it's just meant to contain. So when you containerize an application, you're essentially just putting it in a box with all of its dependencies, libraries that it needed for it to run anywhere. So its defining characteristics are it's host kernel bound. So what does that mean? So compared to virtual machine, you can run any operating system, right? Like Windows, Mac OS, or even Linux. But in containers, you can only run images based from the operating system that you are using. So for example, you are using Linux. You cannot run Windows-based images. Actually, when I was learning containers, medyo parang mali yung nandyan. Kasi I was using Windows machine at that time. But still, I can I can still spin up Linux-based image. So what I learned is, under the hood, they are actually using WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux. So that's why, even when you're using Windows machine, you can still spin up a Linux-based image. And next one is COW, or copy and write. So in contrast with virtual machines, right, with the big storage size, containers, it has smaller size. So the copy and write is the feature that allows us to basically run multiple containers without increasing the storage size in disk. And then the next one is shared kernel. So shared kernel, meaning we do not run an operating system unlike virtual machine. So as you can see on the diagram, we just have containers on top of Docker. It doesn't have operating system running on top of it. Okay, so now we can move on to Firecracker. So back in 2014, AWS Serverless has been released, and it's a good technology. So a lot of people began using it, and then they realized that they cannot afford to use virtual machine. So when they were creating Firecracker, they have two choices, right? Virtual machine or container during that time. So for virtual machine, it offers security and isolation, but with the cost of great overhead or a lot of resource utilization. And then the other one is containers. It offers less isolation, less security, but with fewer resource utilization. But AWS chose virtual machine because their focus is security. So as time goes by, AWS Lambda got more popular. They needed to find a way to improve it, right? Because they've been using VM and it has a lot of overhead. So that's why they came up with the Firecracker. And on 2018, they released it as open source. Okay. So Firecracker micro-VM is built with three things in mind. First one is security, right? AWS security is one of their top priority. So how did they achieve it? So they achieve it by minimizing the attacks area. So to give a context, micro-VM Firecracker has 50,000 lines of code only, compared to a regular, let's say, VirtualBox who has 1.2 million lines of code. So it's more secure, and it's also written in Rust programming language, a language known to be secure. Next one is speed. So when you're spinning up virtual machines, right, it can take up to 2 to 3 minutes, right? And then for Docker, depending on size, few seconds. So in micro-VM, you can actually spin up hundreds of micro-VM in few seconds. You can spin up one micro-VM in about less than 50 milliseconds, and you can actually run simultaneously 1,000 micro-VM inside one server. And then for efficiency, right? So another big thing for containerization is its size. For virtual machine, right, the typical VM is 20 gigs, and the containers usually 100 megabytes. But for micro VM, for each micro VM, you can only it can spin up a micro VM in just 5 megabytes. So, what are the characteristics of micro VM? Limited set of device. So, you can think of micro VM as just a smaller version of a regular virtual machine. So, what's been removed? Essentially, it's a virtual machine, right? You can have its own operating system, but what's missing? So, for it to be more resource efficient, they remove a lot of things like display. So there you can see at the end, it's headless. So you cannot have a GUI of a micro VM. And then the second one is limited Linux-based OS only. So currently, Firecracker only support Linux-based OS. And then for the third one, you cannot pause it. Okay, so it's ephemeral, meaning it lives in a very short amount of time and cannot save its state. And then for the fourth is instant start. So like I mentioned before, you can spin up a virtual micro VM for just a very short amount of time, like 150 milliseconds. And then for comparison, you can actually see on the right-hand side the comparison of it from traditional virtualization and micro VM virtualization. So essentially, it's the same technology but with less overhead because they cut off the unnecessary features that they needed for this technology. Okay. So where is it used? So currently, it powers the AWS Lambda and Fargate. And then another technology, open source technology, is Kata containers. So Kata containers run virtual micro VMs under the hood. It's essentially a competitor of Docker, but instead of containers, right, they're using micro VM under the hood. And then Colab, Appfleet, and Liquid Metal. So those are platform as a service which are running micro VM under the hood. And then in Space Lab, it's a Kubernetes lab where you can spin up a micro VM and you can directly use Kubernetes. And then there's a reason why I'm familiar with this technology. So currently, Tutorials Dojo is creating a lab environment. So Serjan and the team has decided that we are going to use micro VM because currently, when you want to create lab, you have only few options. Again, the virtual machine, but it uses a lot of resources. And then containers, which is good, but it has less isolation. So we're also thinking about the security. Okay. So if you go down with this route, if you plan to choose micro VM, you need to remember this thing. What's missing? So essentially, micro VM is just a virtualization platform. So if you needed to do a lot of things, if you compare it to let's say Docker, right? If you spin up a lot of Docker containers, you have Kubernetes to help you with the orchestration. But currently, in micro VM, if you spin up thousands of micro VM, you have to do it yourself. You have to create the orchestration tool itself because it lacks this thing, rate limiting, capacity planning, persistent storage, availability, and etc. So, you might be asking, why should we even use virtual machines, right? When we can just use firecrackers and or micro VM, since it has a faster speed and also has similar isolation from regular virtual machine. So the defining thing here to remember on what you're going to choose is your use case. So if the application that you are going to run needs a GUI or a specific hardware choice, like for example, the application that you're testing needed a display or ports, okay, you have to use virtual machine because it simply doesn't exist in micro VM. Okay? And for the system requirements, right, you only needed Linux KVM for you to run micro VMs. Okay, and that's it for virtual micro VMs.
Thank you, Mr. Zaingazian, for your illuminating insights. They were both insightful and impactful. And we will now open the floor for a couple of questions. So if you have a question, please raise your hand and we'll bring a microphone to you. And please be respectful and we are eager to hear your questions. So does anyone here has questions for Mr. Gazinan? Kindly raise your hands if you have questions.
Can I switch my data structure in your ecosystem? Because I'm working on the data function. I do SDK of IoT, SQS, and SNS. Can I directly switch another function to your ecosystem? Thank you.
So Sir Donnie is asking if we can basically convert our infrastructure. Let's say you are using serverless, right? If we can use it in micro VM, and the answer is yes, but at what cost, right? You have to think if you have the the capacity to basically parang labanan, what do you call this? Basically fight with AWS because AWS Lambda has been established, right? There are multiple people working on it. But when you use micro VM, again, you have to okay, sa kanina, so you have to do a lot of things by your own. So for the orchestration of micro VM, you have to write it by yourself because it simply doesn't exist. Sorry, what?
I would like to know if I'm using your software, so I need to keep monitoring my CPU state and GPU state or even and memory storage to make sure everything is okay on my instance.
So again, I will repeat Sir Donnie's question. So he's asking if I'm running virtual micro VMs on my machine, how can I ensure that the micro VMs are running fine, right? And also the whole system is running fine. So again, it would go back to the thing I mentioned earlier. It's missing a lot of the things that we take for granted in a more built-in system like Docker or Kubernetes. And it has orchestration built in, rate limiting, but in micro VM, you don't have monitoring or logging. You have to do it by yourself too.
Thank you so much, sir, for that question, and thank you, Mr. Zai, for answering.